All right, welcome back to the Rush Hour Podcast, a 15-minute podcast where we talk about various Yu-Gi-Oh topics. And today we're going to be talking about the anti-frog meta that has shaped Edison format currently. So if you don't know, the last two tournaments, RBET New York and Peak of the Beak 6, which was online, they were won by Virus, Vayu, and Gladiator Beast, respectively. And so I made a video a couple months ago that was called the State of Edison format. And in that video, I was talking about how I was noticing, this is before it actually really took place, but I was noticing that there was an anti-frog meta developing because frogs has become very popular in Edison now. One, Konami reprinted Substitute. That's huge, right? So around Nationals that happened. So they reprinted Substitute. The card was pretty inaccessible before then. It was like $30 a pop for a rare. So now it's more accessible as a deck. I think the Absolute Zero, people found a bunch of those as well.
Yeah.
So he came down in price too for good copies. So you have that happening. So you have availability of the deck for one. Then Dream Frogs came out as a deck out of nowhere. So Hero Frogs had already, Indianapolis, and then you move into Dream Frogs winning Nationals, puts a lot of eyes on Frogs as a deck, as an archetype. Then it wins Sacramento immediately after that. So you have 3 events straight where Frogs just boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Even at RBET Maryland, which was kind of in between, Frogs got second place, and it was my exact list card for card, no changes, 0 changes at all. And it only lost to one of my closest friends, Gary, right? So Frogs have been really doing well during that entire period. And when I was watching replays of online tournaments, I saw that there were a lot more main Deck Devastation Viruses than I've ever seen. So Gary, when he won RBT Maryland, he was main decking DDV in Vayu. And my friend, a true hero, Cairo King, he also main decks DDV in Blackwings. He also was maining it in Diva Hero at a point. And so I'm used to that, but the community never took to it as a widespread thing. And now officially, I feel like that card is just being main decked across the board. I feel like everyone who's playing a Blackwing deck or a Value deck is pretty much main decking DDV, at least one copy. And the deck that really, really took this to the next level was Spiral's deck from Peak of the Beak 6, which was a Value deck that only played 2 Raikos. It played 3 Greffers. It played Elf and a Raven. The Blackwing got us 6 stars. And the whole deck was just triple deck Devi, and it sided triple Eradicator and Fusilier, the dual mode beast, and skill drains. He won the whole tournament. It was 160 people, 150 people, something like that. So pretty big size tournament, comparable to YCS Sacramento, for example. And yeah, I mean, top 16. So he had a really long run, an extra round than Ultimate Time Wizard would be, because 8 rounds of Swiss plus top 16, which gives you, Ultimate Time Wizards are only 8 rounds. I mean, they're only top 8. And so seeing that happen, and then GB's winning RBET New York right after, to me is a clear sign that the anti-frog meta is here. It really did happen. We are officially in an anti-frog environment where GBs are actually good right now because of how good Dream Frogs and how good Stun Frog Monarchs and Frog Monarchs and stuff are. And also decks like Dragon Turbo make GBs better. What do you think about this though? Have you noticed this too? Is this happening in your local area, or are you just seeing it kind of elsewhere?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've been testing the virus deck, so I kind of have a lot of thoughts about this. But in the local meta, I feel like it's not really changed. People kind of just tend to play what they want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely anti-frog meta for sure. Spiral's not bracket matchup god, but just meta calling god, I guess. Because he won a big tournament. I forget what it was with GBs.
It was Peak of the Beak, the one before this one. He won Peak of the Beak 5
and 6. He won 2 in a row?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's just anti-GB or anti-frog master.
He is.
GBs, and then but okay. So specifically for deck dev, though, I will say for the main deck, I think one, it is the frog thing that you were saying, but I think two, and this might just be me, but I've personally at least realized that deck dev is just actually good into a lot of things, including Blackwing.
Yep.
I thought deck dev wasn't that good into Blackwing, and then I'm like, wait, all the little guys are what I'm afraid of. The big guys don't do anything without the little guys. That's what Kalenda was saying. And I'm like, wait, I don't have to worry about Kalu, I don't have to worry about Gale, I don't have to worry about Blizzard. Let me just see your hand, play around whatever I want to play, and just get rid of the guys that I actually care about. Yeah, and you're just a vanilla deck.
You're absolutely right. It's actually good, not just against frogs. It's good against every single deck in the fucking format. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There isn't a deck that it's not good against, is what we are realizing. I don't think there's a single deck where you could argue that even if not losing a lot of cards, the information is also ridiculous. And it lasts for too long. It just lasts for too long. 3 turns. I think that Deck Devi is single-handedly the most problematic card in Edison now. I thought for years I would say Brain Control, Future Fusion Trap, Dash Shoot. I think that from a deck building perspective, from a gatekeeping perspective, I think DDV holds back more and prevents
DDV
more
and
creativity. Yeah, they prevent more. But DDV is like way more rude because you can't respond to it really. You could
Yeah.
have an MST or a Dust Tornado or a Wing Blast or a Geki Break for one of them. You can't do anything about a deck Devi that is already set up. It's just, it's there. It's happening to you at some point. You don't even know it a lot of the time. You're just playing and they already have it set and they have the big monster on the field. And you do something like Summon Gale, half your Dark End, and they go chain. And now your fucking Gale dies. They see your hand. So they get to play with perfect information, which is so ridiculous in Edison format. It's really bad. So it obviously everyone thought, oh, this is a card that you side in for Frogs. And then people say, oh, this is a card that you main deck because Frogs is so popular. And then it's like, well, this is a card you can just main deck because this card is good. And it's good against every deck. And that's kind of where I think we are now. So
yeah, like you said, the knowledge is too good. Being able to chain it is like unreasonably fair. Like you said, that Gale scenario you just said, or like,
yep.
I'm more happy when my Soroka or Armwing get bottomless deep prison and I get to chain that because now my guy's in the grave again.
Yeah.
And now you're cooked.
Yeah, I was talking to ProStorm about this too.
Insane.
I think ProStorm was talking about how DDV is broken because you also get a trap out of them.
Yep.
Like you get a deep prison or a bottomless or a mirror force or a torrential or something out of your opponent, as well as however many monsters. So it's hard to go minus on it unless you do like the turn one before they play a card DDV thing, which really you only want to do that against Frogs anyway, because it's before they can summon Swap Frog or Substitute. Against pretty much every other deck, you just do it mid game.
Just wait. Yeah, you don't care. You just swing your dude and just like do something to it. Let me deck dev you.
Yeah, it's really bad. And this is just, we're talking about anti-frog meta, but like DDV is only one part of it. Again, GBs is the other side of the coin. That deck is really popular now, and I don't even think it's bad. Like I genuinely think that GBs is completely fine in the meta right now. Hero Beat has disappeared, right? We've been saying this for months now. Deck has just disappeared from the meta. People aren't playing it. Rick was like the last person playing that deck. Now it's just gone. So they don't have to worry about one of their worst matchups, which is a deck that summons a 1900 recurring monster every single turn. Gets pluses if you do anything. If you try to touch the alias, they get pluses from it. That deck is gone. Then, because they play like triple trap stun, it's good against Blackwing randomly too. Like it just
like double Starlight, double trap stun, Dust Radios.
If you Icarus, you lose. You either lose the trap stun or lose the Starlight Road. Like, but you lose if you activate Icarus attack. It's really bad. So it weirdly has a decent Blackwing matchup, whereas most people thought that Blackwings kind of checks it. But I think the way the decks are built, the way the GB decks are built, they are built to beat Blackwings because they naturally beat Frogs. And then value is always a toss up. Value, I think, goes any way. Like, it can go either way. It's like, well, the value players sometimes don't main oppression anymore. So GBs has an easier time game one now. But you guys obviously still side to double oppression. How do you feel about the oppression in the main deck now? Like where we are in the format?
I personally, so like I wasn't really, GBs was like not really on my radar till now, obviously. I was on no oppression main deck because I just wanted to beat Blackwing and value game one.
Yep.
And then if I can get that game one, I feel a lot better. And then, but against like every other deck, double oppression comes in. And like that's such a bomb. So that's where I was at. Now I'm like, I don't know where to go. It is funny though, because if you're playing the Test Tiger build in GBs, DDV is still good against you. So that's something else to note.
Yeah,
there's no hero beat, like you said, which is one of the things that was definitely preventing the deck from doing well. Rick was also talking about like it's like a perfect time for hero beat to come back. He was like talking about dusting off old faithful, which I thought that was funny. But
it got second at YCS Lille, or however you say that one. Was it French? The French one I just passed.
Lille,
it was Machina Control versus Diva Hero Beat, I think, in the finals. Maybe it was Diva Hero Beat. I know it was Hero Beat. I don't know if it was Diva Hero Beat or just regular, but
I think it was Diva Hero Beat.
Yeah, it was one of those two decks, and yeah, they went to game 3. He said that he got OTK by Diva Hero Beat in game 2 on turn 2 or something like that, which makes me think that we talk about this. If you leave a level 4 monster on the field, they can just go summon Diva, play Absolute Zero with Miracle Fusion, and it's 7,900. So he probably did damage somewhere else. Double Miracle is away as well, but yeah, he just OTK'd him game 2. He said, "As I was watching your video. I was watching your video with the guy. I'm like, wait a second, where did I see this at?" Follow Sack Phase on YouTube if you haven't already. Amazing channel. But he was saying that like, he played against Hero Beat in the finals. And I said, interesting. Hero Beat gets to the finals in an anti-frog meta where frogs are getting taken out by main deck DDVs, a bunch of GB matchups and stuff like that, and that just leaves room for decks like Hero Beat to prosper because obviously they don't want to play against frogs ever. That is like the death of that deck. So.
The hero stuff is so good into GBs, and then there's also less hero frog There's more like Dream
Yes,
Frog, right? Because
true.
people converted. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people converted even I converted the Dream Frogs for an entire month or more. I was playing Dream Frogs and Stun Frog Monarchs, and I taught with both. I got to experience 8 rounds plus Top Cut with both decks over the last month. And that was awesome. Just to I like to learn new things. I don't ever want to be one of those people that says Hero Frogs is the best version, but I never even play Dream Frogs or Hero or the other Frog decks. I'm just saying that because obviously I have an affinity to Hero Frogs since I won an event with it. And it's one of the decks that I'm known to have literally made the standard list for, right? I don't want to be the guy that's just not listening to new information that comes out. So I had to go and prove it to myself and make my own mind up by playing in a tournament environment and getting the experience with the other decks and seeing what's wrong with them, where they're strong at, what do I gain from playing this over Hero Frogs, what do I lose from playing this over Hero Frogs. And yeah, like you said, the conversion definitely made GBs better too, because I think GB struggles against Hero Frogs because of Stratos and Alias if you play that list, whereas it runs over a regular.
It's so interesting because I remember I don't know, 2-3 months ago, pretty recently, I was thinking, and I think we were even talking about, man, I really hope Edison doesn't become this Blackwing singularity and people just Blackwing takes up 50% of the meta.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of the opposite where
the
meta's kind of blown more wide open. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Blackwings have not been doing as well as I feel like they should or could be doing this year. This has not been a good year for Blackwings. The deck has still topped, obviously. I don't think it's won many things this year, though. Blackwings as a deck, I feel like this is the year.
Not even online, yeah.
Yeah, even, that's what I'm saying. I'm factoring because I play both. I play online. I know you play in person only. I play online and I play in person. And I factor in all wins, all tops. So I get to see everything. Because I'm also, content creating stuff. I love this stuff. But I factor in everything. And I've been noticing the amount of tops Blackwings has, the amount of wins it doesn't have compared to Value and Frogs this year, because they predominantly have all the wins. Most of the wins are just Frogs and Value. Blackwings is still obviously a very good deck, and it's really strong right now, I would say, too, in a meta that we're kind of in, because it's a safe choice in this meta. A lot of good players I noticed were playing Blackwings at RBT New York that normally I don't think are Blackwing players because they realize that it's a safe choice. It's a safe choice when you don't know what the bracket's going to look like because we're in a transitionary phase. That's what I feel like. But it's not doing that well overall, I think. It's weird.
Yeah, it's underperforming for sure. And it's still one of the most played decks in every tournament, which is
easily
not looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Value still isn't doing well right now either.
You think so? Value got second at New York, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It did get second in New York. But
what do you consider that Value deck that just won? Spiral's deck, I don't consider that to just be Value Turbo. I think that's a branch.
It's definitely a branch. It doesn't feel... I thought it would just be a better Value deck, if that makes sense. Because in theory, Deck Dev hits, makes your Frog matchup infinitely better, which was the main matchup Value struggle against.
Yep.
And then in my head, I was like, oh, but it kind of makes the Blackwing matchup worse. But when I was testing it, I was like, this just feels like a different deck almost. Because you don't have your Hamster Raiko, and there's only one Caius.
And there's only one D prison in the list that won. That was a big thing too. I noticed that list
less defense.
It's exactly that. And if you know the list, see, the part is he won with it, right? He had the surprise factor, which is huge in Yu-Gi-Oh. You win so many tournaments and so many rounds, so many games from surprise factor. Now people, hopefully, if they do their research, they know the list. They know what it looks like. If people don't change it up, it's very susceptible to getting rushed down a bit more because of the lack of defense that deck has. It's one of those things, once you know better, you do better. And I did notice the 1D prison, the lack of Raikos and Hamster, stuff like that. It adds up. It adds up when you know it's not there.
And I think in that tournament, there were only 2 Value Turbos that topped, and they were both Virus Value.
I think you're right. I think it was a Scrub for Life and Spiral. Yep, I think you're absolutely right. There was only 2. There were 7 Frogs in Top Cut of all different varieties. There was a couple Hero Frogs, a couple Stun Frogs, a couple Dream Frogs. It was all over the place. There were 7 Frogs out of 16 decks. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, and you know what's crazy? That was a tournament that had the most anti-Frog stuff. That was a tournament where I was saying a lot more main deck DDV, a lot more GBs, just a very anti-Frog tournament. But somehow it still got 7 spots in. And then top 4, I think, was 2 Frogs, 1 Blackwing, 1 Value, 1 Virus Value. Yeah,
I think so.
And funnily enough, the Blackwing deck that got second, I lost him in top 4, was side decking Triple Mask Restrict.
Oh, wow.
I got to watch all his replays because I had to play him. So I had to watch all his replays, and I saw that he had Triple Mask Restrict. Because I think at one of the games, he all of them got used in some way. They all got shown in the replay.
That's another card I think will go up more in stocks because that card is just so much better against like regular Frog Monarch and Dream Frog than pulling
Yep.
the rug.
All the more reason to just play Hero Frogs. I'm telling you, the other frog decks are good, but they have these weaknesses that Hero Frogs doesn't have, like getting solo by a Fossil Diner or a DDV or Mask Restrict. I think that's the biggest one. Mask Restrict is definitely good against those frog decks. It's really, really good against them.
Yep.
So, but I think that's our time. We're gonna wrap up this one, guys. What do you think about where Edison is right now? Have you noticed that there's kind of like an anti-frog thing happening where a lot of the main deck cards and even main deck choices, like as a deck as a whole, seem to be geared towards beating frogs? Do you hate frogs yourself? Let us know in the comments, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.